What if I told you that the most beloved father-daughter duo on television would end with one of them brutally murdered while the other watches helplessly? The most brutal revenge story ever put on screen just wrapped up on May 25th, 2025, and I'm still processing what we witnessed. I must admit that Season 2 of The Last of Us has completely shattered everything we thought we knew about Joel and Ellie's story. But more on that later. If you missed Season 1 or need a refresher before I take you into the chaos of Season 2, here's everything you need to know about Joel and Ellie's journey that set the stage for one of the most emotionally devastating seasons of television ever created. The world ends in 2003. 22 years ago, civilization collapsed in hours. An altered cordyceps fungus jumped from insects to humans, turning people into savage creatures that hunt by sound and sight. In the panic, young Sarah died in her father Joel's arms, having been shot by a soldier trying to contain the outbreak. Fast forward 20 years. Joel's a broken smuggler in Boston's quarantine zone until he's hired to transport a teenage girl named Ellie to the Fireflies. The catch is that she's immune to the infection that destroyed the world. Their journey across a hostile America forms a solid father-daughter bond forged in blood and loss. But when they finally reach the Fireflies in Salt Lake City, Joel faces an impossible choice. Creating a vaccine requires killing Ellie. The doctors need her brain. Joel responded by slaughtering everyone in that hospital, carried Ellie out, and lied to her face about what happened. He chose her over humanity's potential salvation. Now here's where Season 2 picks up that thread and pulls it until everything unravels. The reckoning begins 5 years later. Jackson, Wyoming feels like stepping back in time. Snow-covered streets, movie nights, and New Year's Eve dances make an illusion of normalcy. Joel and Ellie have settled into this thriving community, but their relationship carries invisible scars. Ellie's grown into a capable young woman patrolling the outskirts with her friend Dina. During one sweep, they discover something scary. There's a new type of infected that stalks silently through abandoned buildings. The fungus is evolving. That same night, at Jackson's New Year celebration, Ellie and Dina share their first kiss. It's a moment of pure joy shattered when bar owner Seth hurls a homophobic slur. Joel's immediate, violent defense of Ellie backfires spectacularly. She tells him she doesn't need his protection and storms off. What Joel doesn't know is that his past is literally marching toward Jackson's gates. Abby and her crew, Nora, Owen, Mel, and Manny, have been hunting him for years. They're not just seeking revenge, they're carrying the weight of everyone Joel murdered at that hospital. And who's Abby, you ask? She's the daughter of the surgeon Joel killed. Their collision course accelerates when a massive horde of infected, hidden under the snow, awakens near Jackson. In the chaos of the attack, Joel saves a stranger's life. That stranger is Abby. She leads him to what seems like safety, but it becomes Joel's execution chamber, the golf club that changed everything. I need to warn you, what happens next is genuinely difficult to watch. Abby reveals who she is and why she's there. Joel's face shows recognition, then resignation. He knows exactly what he did and why she's here. When Abby raises that golf club, Joel doesn't beg. He doesn't try to explain himself. The beating is methodical, brutal, and far more graphic than anything Season 1 prepared us for. Ellie bursts in just in time to watch Joel die, his blood pooling on the wooden floor as Abby's group restrains her. This isn't quick revenge, it's cathartic violence years in the making. Joel's final moments are far from heroic. They're ugly, desperate, and human. When Abby drives that broken club handle into his neck, she's not just killing Joel, she's destroying the heart of the entire series. Ellie's scream as she cradles his body will haunt you for weeks. What did you think of Joel's death scene? Was it too brutal, or did it serve the story? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious how different viewers processed that moment. 3 months of grief and planning. The funeral scene shows Jackson forever changed. Tommy speaks about Joel's sacrifices while Ellie sits in numb silence. Rather than processing grief, she's planning war. When the town council meets to discuss tracking Joel's killers to Seattle, the community splits. Many want to move on, to avoid more violence. Ellie reads a carefully prepared letter arguing for justice, not revenge. They vote no, so Ellie decides to go alone. Almost. Dina finds her packing weapons and supplies, determined to join her girlfriend on what everyone knows is a suicide mission. Their conversation reveals something profound. It ain't about Joel only anymore. Ellie's carrying survivor's guilt that goes back to Riley, to everyone she's lost while remaining immune. Seth, the same man who used that slur, quietly helps them leave. Even he understands some debts must be paid. The morning of their departure, Ellie places coffee beans on Joel's grave, which is a callback to his preference she never understood, but now honors. It's a small gesture that carries enormous weight. Welcome to hell. Well, we got to hell real quick, didn't we? Seattle is under siege. Seattle in 2030 looks like a war zone because that's exactly what it is. Two factions, the Washington Liberation Front, WLF, and the Seraphites, have turned the city into a killing field. Dead bodies hang from bridges. Buildings are riddled with bullet holes. This isn't just post-apocalyptic, it's actively apocalyptic. Ellie and Dina's first night in the city nearly ends their quest before it begins. While hiding in an abandoned music store, they stumble across WLF soldiers brutally murdered by Seraphites. The violence here is ideological warfare taken to its extreme. In the subway tunnels, Ellie gets bitten while saving Dina from infected. As they hide in an abandoned theater, Dina prepares to shoot her girlfriend rather than watch her turn. Ellie's explanation of her immunity leads to Dina's own revelation. She's pregnant. Their night together in that theater is the calm before an emotional hurricane that will tear both of them apart. The hunt begins. Following leads to Lake Hill Hospital, Ellie and Dina encounter Jesse, who arrived with Tommy to bring them home. But there's no going back now. The WLF has noticed their presence, and the Seraphites are equally hostile to outsiders. In a horrifying scene at a local park, they witness Seraphites disemboweling a WLF soldier while he's still alive. When Dina takes an arrow to the leg, Jesse carries her to safety, while Ellie creates a diversion. She's separating herself from everyone she loves step by step. At the hospital, Ellie finally corners Nora in the quarantine basement. The airborne cordyceps spores that fill the air infect Nora, but leave Ellie untouched, which reminds us of her unique immunity. Nora recognizes her as the girl Joel saved, the reason her friends died. What follows is Ellie beating information out of a dying woman with a pipe. It's a scene that shows how far she's fallen from the innocent girl we met in Season 1, the aquarium. The information leads Ellie to an abandoned aquarium where she finds Owen and Mel, two of Joel's killers. What she doesn't immediately realize is that Mel is heavily pregnant. When Ellie holds them at gunpoint demanding Abby's location, Owen makes a desperate grab for his weapon. Ellie's shot kills him instantly, but the bullet continues through his body into Mel. As Mel bleeds out, she begs Ellie to save her unborn child. Ellie can only watch in horror as both mother and baby die from her single gunshot. This moment breaks something fundamental in Ellie. She's not hunting killers anymore, but becoming one. While Ellie drowns in guilt, Tommy has been waging his own campaign of vengeance across Seattle. The former soldier has turned into something close to a one-man army, picking off WLF members from rooftops and abandoned buildings. Jesse tracks the gunshots to find his mentor, but Tommy's obsession with avenging Joel has consumed him completely. He's not the stable, community-minded man from Jackson anymore. When Abby finally tracks them to the theater, she arrives to find Ellie, Jesse, and Tommy together. The confrontation we've been building toward all season explodes in seconds of brutal violence. Jesse dies first by a quick shot to the head that eliminates him before he can even draw his weapon. Tommy takes a bullet that leaves him permanently injured, his face forever scarred by Abby's need for closure. Then Abby puts her gun to Ellie's head, and for a moment, it seems like the cycle of revenge might end here. The deepest cut, Joel's truth. Before we see how this standoff resolves, the show takes us back to reveal the full truth about Joel and Ellie's relationship. Through a series of birthday flashbacks, we watch their bond slowly crack under the weight of Joel's lie. On her 15th birthday, he gives her a guitar. On her 16th, they explore a space museum where Ellie dreams of becoming an astronaut. By her 17th birthday, Joel's overprotectiveness has become suffocating. He interrupts an intimate moment between Ellie and another girl, revealing the extent of his fear of losing her. On her 19th birthday, their final patrol together. They encounter Eugene, who's been bitten. Joel promises to bring him home to say goodbye to his wife Gail, but instead executes him in the woods and lies about it. When Ellie discovers the truth and tells Gail what really happened, she realizes Joel's capacity for deception goes far beyond the hospital. The night before he dies, after the New Year's Eve dance, Ellie finally confronts Joel about the Fireflies. He tearfully confesses everything: the doctors, the vaccine, his choice to save her over humanity. "I would do it all again," he tells her through tears. Her response cuts deeper than any physical wound. "I don't know if I can forgive you, but I'd like to try." Those were nearly the last words they exchanged. Joel died before that forgiveness could fully form. The final confrontation, back in the theater, with Jesse dead and Tommy bleeding, Abby makes her final play for closure. But just as she's about to pull the trigger, another gunshot rings out. The screen cuts to black, leaving us with one of the most effective cliffhangers in recent television history. What happens next will determine whether this cycle of violence finally ends or spirals into something even darker. Abby has her revenge, but Ellie's quest is far from over. Season 2 of The Last of Us proved that some stories can't have happy endings. Sometimes love leads to terrible choices. Sometimes survival comes at the cost of your humanity. And sometimes the people we're trying to protect become the very thing we're fighting against. Did Abby make the right choice in killing Joel? Can Ellie ever find peace after everything she's done? These questions don't have easy answers, which is exactly why this show has sparked debates across the internet. Season 3 is already confirmed, and based on how Season 2 ended, we're heading into even darker territory. What's your take on Ellie's transformation from innocent survivor to ruthless killer? Was it realistic realistic character development, or did the show push too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one of them. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. We'll be covering every episode as this story continues to unfold.